Alright, I think we're good to go. I got everything on today. Looks like my mic's moving. There's always something going wrong at the beginning of these streams. Like yesterday, I didn't have my mic on for like 20 minutes, I think, and nobody said anything. Rip. Um, but yeah, we're just gonna do a little opener real quick. My new favorite songs that my fiance found. Down, holding me down. All right, there's a quick little intro bit, real quick. Um, Now let me go ahead and turn on our other music. You know, same stuff we've been jamming out to for the past 13 days. But yeah, we're gonna be doing some real boring stuff today. I didn't just include that in the title. Like, we actually are. I was debating on whether or not, like, even um, putting this on screen, but we're gonna actually be reading some like documentation to try and see if we can fix things. So I'm gonna go ahead and check the chat in a second. Um, I'm just looking for this lo-fi generator. Okay, boop, got that. Let me turn it on. All right, you guys should be able to hear it now. How fun! Very exciting. Probably look for something soon that we can play other than this, maybe. Not today, though. Today we're going to focus up. Alright, so we're going to be going through this documentation that I got last night. This guy was like very, very intelligent. Definitely like beyond any level that I'm in programming at this point. Um, so he gave me some cool documentation to read. Um, Wait, actually, real quick, before I get started in that, Jason Yadlovsky, the audio guy for Davinci, posted a video again on Davinci Resolve 21. Did Davinci Resolve 21 come out? I gotta look. He keeps like teasing it. I know they're gonna probably release it at NAB, so it's probably not out. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's out. But damn, man, he keeps teasing it hard. I want DaVinci Resolve 21, man. Excited to see what black magic brings. Why does my stream keep lagging behind? Not really sure what's going on here. Alright, so let's take a look at this documentation. We're going to read through it a bunch of times. We're going to see if we can understand it. I'm having AI read it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, and I still really wasn't getting it last night. So, now this is an LLM, so I don't know how well it's doing, but I can't just feed it to like Claude or something. It won't be able to do it. I had to break it down into pieces. Want to solve, then we write down a few choices we always have to make, like fast versus accurate. Pick one side for each. You know what? Let me try actually looking at the documentation itself. Where is the documentation? Oh, okay. Right. I just saved the local copy. I didn't save all of it. So hang on. Alright, we're gonna have a screaming baby. A mad baby in the house. Come here, Avery. Come here. Come here. Yeah, play with your toys. Come on. It's always when I start live streaming, unfortunately. So, we're gonna look through the documentation here. Like I said in the title here. Maybe honestly, I should change this title, because maybe it's still not gonna be enough for what we're doing. AI tutorials, problem first, engineering. Alright. And if Ness is watching this and doesn't want me to share this for whatever reason, I'll take this stream down too. Though I doubt he'll be watching this right now. Alright, so we're gonna reread through this. I know it's pretty freaking boring. Potentially. But apparently this is the way that we should be doing things. So, we're examining how AI changes engineering practice. Just gonna mute my mic while my daughter's screaming. Alright, never mind. Mommy's back. No need to scream. We're good to go. Task, breakdowns, acceptance, criteria. The unit of work is something you can name, assign, check off. Progress means items moving from left to right on a board. This works because the path from intent to artifact is short enough to inspect. Developer reads the requirement, writes the code, and reviewer holds the spec in mind while comparing the output against it. The spec is both plan and validation instrument. The same document that tells you what to build also tells you whether it was built. Alright, so we're going to be rereading this over again. I just got a lot of distractions around, so I got to read things like 80 times in order to kind of grasp things. This works because the path from intent to artifact is short enough to inspect. The developer reads the requirement, writes the code, and the reviewer holds the spec in mind while comparing the output against it. The spec is both plan and validation instrument. The same document that tells you what to build also tells you whether it was built. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. After reading that last night, and reading that today, it makes a bit more sense. That tight loop has survived every major shift in software practice. Waterfall had specification documents. Agile replaced them with user stories and acceptance criteria. Even the most informal teams carry some version of the pattern. Write down what you want, build it, check the result against what you wrote down. The unit changes size, the ceremony changes weight, but the assumption holds. You can enumerate what needs doing and then verify what each item was done. All right, that does not make sense. So, at least to me. So, if there's a way to adjust this document somehow. Actually, what happens if I have view summary? I haven't even tried to do this. What is this going to say? And where is it going to pop up? Alright, we're renaming the stream to Reading Boring Vibe Coding Stuff because that's what we're going to be doing for the most part during this stream. I guess it makes the most sense to do something like that. Let me go ahead and jump off that. Just got some stuff that's going on in the background. We'll put up my live because I accidentally X'd out. I want to monitor it. Alright. Alright, it doesn't look like Adobe's AI is really doing anything, so, I don't know, we gotta look up, is there a way... I don't want this screen going. Is there a way to, let's see, is there a way to... What happens when I double click? Nothing. What are these tools? Let's try looking at this first. Edit. Is there a way to copy and paste text on a PDF in Adobe Acrobat? If it's not your document. Let's see what this pops up. Using the select tool, unless security restrictions. No, I don't want an image. Alright, as text, not an image. Alright guys, if you're popping here on the stream, we're actually doing what the title says. So I want to give complete expectations of that. We're going to actually be reading real documentation that I got off somebody last night that's been a programmer for like 20 something years. This dude was super smart. He said that there's a better... I think what he was saying, I couldn't even understand it all, but I think he was saying that there's a better way to prompt AI. And so I'm reading through his, like, 120-page document. So feel free to stick around. We're doing it with a little bit of AI, a little bit of reading ourselves. We're just trying to figure this out, how to copy the text right now. Direct selection, select the selection tool, arrow icon, highlight the text, right click, and choose copy. Alright, I guess we can try that. I'm just trying to decipher certain parts that I don't entirely understand right now. What the fuck is going on now? Alright. Before this was like highlighting stuff. I don't use Adobe Acrobat, so if you know how to actually select text with Adobe Acrobat, feel free to or maybe it's not even possible. Maybe I'm being led down a rabbit hole. So feel free to type in the chat if you know how to do this, because this doesn't appear to be doing anything. Select text, da 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 da. Select all, what happens? Maybe because I was on all tools last time. Yeah, there we go. Now we get that. I guess we can copy with formatting. Alright, let's start a new chat. What does this mean? And it doesn't work. Sucks, dude. Sucks. I guess what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to take a snapshot. And then where the hell does that snapshot go? So yeah, follow along this video if you want to learn how to prompt AI better, I suppose. I don't know. He was throwing numbers around with like 100% accuracy or something. So I don't know if what he was saying was true and I understood properly. This is going to be a game changer when prompting AI. I just have to kind of understand what he was saying, and that's going to be the really complicated part, because it's like a pretty decently long thing. Where do snapshots go when taken from Adobe Acrobat? Alright, snapshots taken in Adobe Acrobat are copied directly to your computer's clipboard. They're not saved as separate files, but rather stored in memory, allowing you to immediately paste. That's a problem. So, we need to go into Paint then. Bro, what is that? That's not what I... We're just gonna... Wait, this has generative erase now? No way, dude. Since when does Paint have generative erase? That's crazy, bro. Alright. Alright, we'll have to make sense of what we can make sense of here. The unit changes size, the ceremony changes weight, but the assumption holds. You can enumerate what needs doing, then verify that each item was done. I guess we can take a screenshot like this. There. Let me see if I can copy this into a llama. Of course, a llama doesn't support, or maybe it's the model I'm using. AI tutorial. Shit. Alright, let's feed this into a llama. Hopefully it can read our screenshot. Boom. This model does not support images. Okay, what model does? we have a couple different models, so let's see. Doesn't support images. Thank the heavens. What does this mean? I don't know how long this is gonna take. Alright, welcome to the stream, guys. We're actually doing what the title of this video says. We're actually reading boring stuff, so don't be misled here. This isn't clickbait. We're legit reading boring stuff. I mean, to me it's interesting, but boring stuff as in it's documentation, teaching us how to prompt AI better. I might even start up a second channel. I'm not really sure. Maybe just doing AI stuff, and I could stream all that, because right now I need to keep things very specific to Davinci Resolve, because that's still my main driver here. I've been editing for 3 years now. But we just want to take advantage of this AI wave while it's here, so we don't want to miss that. Crypto in 2020 or 2021 was killer for us, and it's like a similar opportunity here again. So do not miss this AI wave, my friend. Alright, well, while it's typing that out, let's go ahead and read on more. What is this stupid panel, bro? There's nothing here, really. Alright, workflow, spec-driven with prior enumerated artifact governs verification. Stack requirements, user story backlog, or an AI task checklist. Every serious workflow uses lists somewhere to track execution, bound scope, or confirm that a local step had happened. The question is not whether lists exist, the question is which artifact has authority when deciding whether the result is aligned. A workflow that writes execution specs downstream but verifies against a problem map is not spec-driven in the sense this book critiques. A workflow that verifies but matching output back to the prior list is. The approach works when the path from intent to artifact is short enough that a single reviewer can hold the governing list in mind while inspecting the output. It breaks when the search space outgrows what any list can enumerate. Yeah, this stuff just goes right over my head, man. So maybe what this is saying, this approach breaks when there's too much information. That would be my best guess as to what this is saying here. The short answer, the text is arguing that standard processes and checklists are timeless. Even though an organization, the unit grows or shrinks, formal meetings or rituals, the ceremonies become more or less important. The fundamental idea that you can make a list of tasks and check them off remains true. I feel like I'm gonna be reading like 120 pages to realize that I should just be making a detailed checklist that goes based off the context of what's going on. Alright, I think this stream is not gonna get much traction here. First formalized in defense aerospace standards such as DoD, blah 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 blah. Then carried in commercial software and process models such as the V model. The containers changed specification sections, requirement sets, user stories, backlog items, AI task lists. With the government move, did not in each era. Verification was governed by matching the result to an enumerated prior description. Checking it against a mapped problem space is also the default shape of much current AI tooling, but the important question is what governs verification in each case. I also do wonder, he was talking about some sort of product like IDE that he was making, like a visual IDE. That's massively different than what we have now, I guess. But maybe this is his documentation for that. I'm not really sure. PRD, FRs, and NFRs. Work is judged by whether those items were satisfied. Spec kit may begin with constitution, but verification is governed downstream by spec, checklist, plan, and task artifacts. It generates Copilot workspace. Similarly, turns a task into a specification and plan, and then evaluates progress against those generated descriptions. Cursor and Devon style workflows vary in interface, but whenever execution is organized around an explicit task description, plan, or acceptance list, those artifacts govern verification as well. I feel like we need to look up what artifacts means in terms of AI, because this keeps popping up and it's like a massive, I guess it's a massive thing here. What is an artifact in terms of AI? Maybe we can half screen this too. Alright, let me see. Here it is. Definitely need to scooch this shit in, man. Alright, we might not be able to half screen this. I wish we could eliminate whatever this panel is here. Maybe it's this button? No. I don't know. Maybe there's a way to get rid of this panel. I'm not sure. I really don't use this whatsoever. Alright, let me just full screen that again. Not ideal, but is what it is. Artifacts, it generates Copilot workspace, similarly turns a task into a specification of plan, then evaluates progress against those generated descriptions. But whenever execution is organized around an explicit task, description, plan, or acceptance list, those artifacts govern verification as well. The contrast in this book is not that AI tools use specs, it is that these systems usually govern verification from enumerated solution side artifacts, while problem first workflow governs verification from the problem map, and use execution specs only as bounded downstream instruments. Linear path from requirements through implementation to verification. The same document serves as both plan and checklist. That assumption breaks when AI enters the loop. The model of enumerate, build, and check fails in several distinct ways when AI is generating the work, each with its own structural cause. The number of viable paths through a design space exceeds what any checklist can constrain. Okay, this goes back to what I was reading yesterday, so I am starting to understand this because I had Olama break this down as if I was a 5-year-old, or a 5th grader actually. Consider adding user authentication. It could be framed as a security problem, a user experience problem, or a compliance problem. And each framing leads to different design. Any engineering goal can be framed as multiple different problems. Each problem framing admits multiple viable approaches. Okay, I think I know where they're going with this. Each approach can be executed with different tools, models, and workflows. These dimensions interact. The problem framing constrains which approach work. The available tools constrain which framings are practical. A requirements list captures one path through that space. When AI can fluently generate work along any path, you point it toward the question shifts from can it build this to is this the right thing to build? When AI can fluently generate work along any path you point it towards, the question shifts from can it build this to is this the right thing to build? You can enumerate your way to answer. Figure 1.2 shows how each design access multiplies the space. Combinatorial. Figure 1.2 combinatorial explosion. Each design axis multiplies the search space. So no checklist can enumerate viable paths. So basically, I think what this is saying is like when you give AI a set of instructions, there can be many different paths that you're taking. I'm trying to think of an example. There's plenty of examples. Like the examples are unlimited, actually, from what I understand. Um, What's going on? Looks like we got somebody new on the stream. We're actually reading boring shit today. For me, not boring. This is going to teach you how to prompt AI if you understand it. But with that being said, this is very detailed and was written by somebody that is much smarter than me. We need to go ahead and load another battery in my mic because right now the batteries just went out. Okay. Alright. Each design axis multiplies the search space. No checklist can enumerate all viable paths. Sorry, I just got thrown off there, so we're just going to read this again. So every single instruction that you give AI is what I'm getting from this is every instruction that you give to AI has an infinite amount of outcomes. And when you give it branches of different things, like something that has multiple paths that you can go down, then you're creating multiple more infinite outcomes on each path. That's what I'm kind of understanding from this. So I'm assuming that we're going to need to go into a lot of detail when talking with AI. Let me write the new way of prompting. Alright, this is a search problem. It is solved by understanding the domain and the principles that guide trade-offs rather than trying to list. And feel free to pop your head in the chat, guys. I love talking to you guys. I might get thrown a little off track, but I really do love figuring out what you guys are working on. And if you have any questions about what I'm reading, or you want to chime in, anything, feel free to do that as well. I know this stuff is going to be super crazy and going to be a little bit complicated to read, but this is what we're going through.
Change your clothes. She just wants to be able to
Then go let her play outside for a little bit.
She was.
Yeah, let her play in those clothes, and then we can change her in a little bit. All right, mute first. Alright, this is a search problem. It is solved by understanding the domain and the principles that guide trade-offs rather than trying to list every possible path. But even once a path is chosen, the verification problem becomes many to many. Okay, so basically what this is saying is you're going to want to, from my understanding, you want to narrow down what path you're going to take. I've fallen victim to prompting AI multiple different paths, and then it has unlimited paths to go down on each side. So you want to limit your paths, and maybe I can put this into reference in another video. Hopefully this live stream is actually going to be helpful to somebody. I think it's actually going to be helpful for me to go back and look through, because I'm starting to understand this a little bit. Whereas last night I was reading it and I was like, dude, I'm just dumbfounded by this. The many-to-many problem. Combinatorial explosion makes choosing the right path hard. Even after choosing a path, verification breaks down when teams try to confirm that the resulting checklist was followed. The many-to-many problem. In database theory, a many-to-many relationship means items in one table can relate to multiple items in another, and vice versa. In AI engineering, the term describes the operation that the spec-driven verification requires, and that AI models degrade on a scale increases, matching items between two lists where the number of matches per item is unknown. The shape of each item is non-trivial, and items can interleave and share structure across both lists. I think this would probably be much easier to understand if it was broken down into common lingo. Like, I'm not a programmer. I did go to college for programming for a little bit, but we didn't end up finishing that and following through on that. We ended up getting into something else, which I'm not unhappy about because I made a lot of money doing that. But I think this is a bit complicated for the average viewer, and it's not meant to be for the average viewer. That's why it's written this way. But I think if it was dumbed down, it would be a bit more digestible. In database theory, a many-to-many relationship means items in one table can relate to multiple items in another, and vice versa. In AI engineering, the term describes the operation that spec-driven verification requires, and that AI models degrade on as scale increases, matching items between two lists where the number of matches per item is unknown. The shape of each item is non-trivial, and items can interleave and share structure. I think I'm going to get this summarized because this not making much sense to me. So I think I'm going to have AI summarize this one. Let me see if I can copy and paste in this model. We have our artifact chat, so that's good. Annoyingly enough, we can't copy and paste in it. The many-to-many problem. Let's see. We got that. We can put this in here now. This is the wrong folder. AI tutorial stuff. Maybe I should rename this so it's viewer friendly, because we got to do that. You know, AI tutorial stuff. Alright, dumb this down for me. Pretend like you're talking to a 5th greater um, explain this in a way that someone with an IQ, let's throw out a number here. Let's pick a really low number. I don't know, what's low in IQ? Uh, Mine's like 130 something, I think. So we'll do 90. I don't know if that's going to be too dumb. We'll see. 90 can understand. Probably fine. So what's going on, guys? We're learning the new way of prompting AI. Apparently, there's a better way of prompting AI, and everything you see on the internet is like 3 months behind. I got this paperwork from somebody that is extremely smart that I was talking to yesterday, like super smart in the programming world, and yeah, so we're just going through it. The title is we're reading boring vibe coding stuff because we're reading documentation on how to prompt AI. Now, I actually find this stuff interesting. You might find it interesting too, but I didn't want to throw anybody off because we're not actually really vibe coding today. We're learning a different way of actually speaking to AI that gives us better results. He was throwing around numbers, and I think he threw out like the best AI right now is like doing 76% in something, or I don't know if that was an accurate number. But then he said this is like very hard to fool. This is like 100% accurate or something like that. I don't know. It was hard to follow. Some of this stuff goes over my head. But that's why we're trying to learn it, because if we can learn this now, we can get pretty much ahead of everybody. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do here. Trying to understand this document. So feel free to stick around. Feel free to ask me questions. And yeah, let me know what you guys got going on. What are you guys working on? I think I might be scaring everybody away today with the documents. Reading is scary nowadays. Uninteresting. But yeah. Alright, the many to many problem comes from choosing the right path hard. Even after choosing a path, verification breaks down when teams try to confirm that the resulting checklist was followed. In database theory, okay, we read all this. AI models are trained. Alright, we were somewhere down here. In AI engineering, the term describes the operation of spectrum verification requires that AI models degrade on as a scale increases. That makes sense. Matching items between two lists where number of matches per item is unknown. The shape of each item is non-trivial, and items can interleave and share structure across both lists. AI models are trained for a needle in the haystack retrieval, finding one match for one query in a large context. Alright, AI models are trained for needle in a haystack retrieval. Okay, that kind of makes gonna be making this a little bit easier to understand. Um, they're kind of looking for like a once in a lifetime opportunity. They're digging through the sand to try and find one specific piece of glass, but we all know how big the freaking like where all the sand is. It's a huge amount of sand. I don't know if that makes sense. So, yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling and just keep reading this. If you have any questions, just type them in the chat. This is a one-to-one lookup, and frontier models are now very good at it. Matching two lists against each other is a categorically different operation. Frontier models have improved dramatically on simple instruction following, but the structural degradation pattern persists. Many if eval. I have no idea what this is. Still shows sharp drops as simultaneous instruction count rises. In the long context, cross-referencing benchmarks shows GPT 5.4 falling from 97% to 37% as context extends into the 512 range. CCTU reports no model above 20% task completion when all constraints must be satisfied simultaneously. CCTU 2026 performance improved. The structural pattern did not. Alright, if you guys are new to this particular stream today, we're reading some documentation. I find this very interesting. It's the new way of prompting AI potentially to get better results, like way more accurate results, I think he was saying. I got this off somebody like super intelligent, has been in the software engineering space for 20 years. You could just tell that he really understood what he was doing. And he was even saying that some of this stuff can make the robot code even better than he can code or something like that, from what I was understanding. I don't know, but yeah, so we're reading through this today to try and understand it so that way we can prompt AI better. If he, for whatever reason, is watching this and wants me to take this down, I don't think he'll have a problem with it. I don't think it's a big deal. He seemed like a pretty chill dude. He was funny as fuck too. But yeah, he can just let me know. The many-to-many matching problem in AI engineering, specification items, implementation elements, solid line, identified mapping, dash line, missed / uncertain mapping. Feel free to leave any questions that you might have in the comment section. I'll try to answer what I can. Some of this stuff goes above my head, actually most of it. Unknown match count. The many-to-many matching problem. Spec items and implementation elements form a complex, overlapping web rather than clean one-to-one map. The many-to-many matching problem. Spec items and implementation elements form... And if you guys are just watching this now, you might want to watch through if you really want to understand this stuff from the beginning where I go over it, because we're literally just going through this whole document and trying to figure out the new implementation of prompting AI, because it can get you some pretty serious results, it seems like, from what he was saying. Some better results. But take that with a grain of salt. This dude was way smarter than I am, especially at software engineering stuff, and so I could have misinterpreted what he was saying. But yeah, feel free to stick around. Let me know what you got going on, what you're working on, and if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Figure 1.3, the many-to-many matching problem. Spec items and implementation elements form a complex overlapping web rather than a clean one-to-one map. Right? Because there's different things that can link to each other, and not everything just only links to one element. Okay, that makes sense, I think. Consider verifying a 20-item spec against a codebase spread across 15 files For each spec item, you must find every place in the code that addresses it, but you do not know how many places to expect and the items overlap. The problem is significantly harder than matching two flat lists. A task frontier. Let me read this again. And we're gonna roll through some of this stuff multiple times over because it's gonna take a little bit for me to kind of digest this information, if I'm able to. Consider verifying a 20 item spec against a code base across 15 files. So hot outside. Consider verifying a 20 item spec against a code base spread across 15 files. For each spec item, you must find every place in the code that addresses it, but you do not know how many places to expect, and the items overlap. The problem is significantly harder than matching two flat lists. Task frontier models now handle much better in simple cases, but still degrade sharply once multiple constraints, long dependency ranges, and interacting conditions are introduced. No idea what any of this stuff is. It all looks like gibberish to me. In practice, each item on both sides is a complex object. Unknown match counts. For any given criterion in a spec, you do not know how many implementation elements satisfy it. 0, 1, or many, and you do not know how many you should expect. Needle in a haystack finds exactly one match. Auditing a spec has no such guarantee. Alright, just getting a little distracted here. My daughter in the background. Nothing I can do about it, but unknown match counts for any. What's going on, guys? See, we got some more viewers on here. We are actually doing what the title says here. We are reading through some documentation on basically the new way of prompting AI, from what I understand of it. I was talking to somebody last night that was extremely smart, just all across the board, but specifically in computer science, and 20 years of experience in this stuff. And he gave me some documentation on the new way of prompting AI. So we're trying to make sense of that. For any given criterion in a spec, you do not know how many implementation elements satisfy it, 0, 1, or many, and you do not know how many you should expect. Alright, so I can really relate this to the project I've currently been working on, because when we've been trying to fix the size of the text, there's so many different unknowns that we don't have, because there's so many different formulas that we can write that would probably arrive at the accurate size of the text. Also, on top of that, we don't just know that the size of the text wasn't working from the Figma to Davinci tool because maybe because of line spacing, or maybe because of resolution, or maybe because of letter spacing. We don't know. There's so many different unknowns, and there's infinite paths that we can take to arrive at the result that we were looking for. So it becomes overly complicated, and I hope that makes sense. It might only make sense if you've been following along with the other videos and seeing the problems I've been running into. Alright, I was told that giving this an L will zoom it out. Maybe the microphone is in the way. Otherwise, enjoy this extremely close face view of me. This really up close face cam. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're booting up our software here so we can change that. I'd like to hypothetically watch Tommy today too, so hopefully I can catch him before I get because he's a dope dude. I only got to watch him a little bit yesterday. But anyways, yeah, for anybody new here, we're doing something a little bit different today. We're not actually building the plugin. We're getting all the stuff behind the scenes for better prompting in AI. Um, Something that somebody gave to me yesterday, a document for better prompting of AI. He was talking about how the internet's pretty much 3 months behind, and I don't know. He was much smarter than me, um, especially in computer science. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of a grasp on this, so that way maybe we can figure out how to figure out the sizing um, for our plugin. It might have infinite implementations and might be impossible. I don't know. After reading this, we will find out. But yeah, that's why the title says that. We're reading this documentation, so feel free to stick around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, unknown match counts for any given criterion in a spec. You do not know how many implementation elements satisfied 0, 1, or many, and you do not know how many you should expect. Needle in a haystack finds exactly one match. Auditing a spec has no such guarantee. Oh, so maybe I misunderstood that earlier. I don't know. Items are themselves lists. Each spec item is not a simple string, it is a complex object with properties, sub-requirements, and implications. Each implementation element is similarly structured. You end up comparing a list of complex objects against a list of complex objects, a list of lists against a list of lists. Okay. Unknown shape. Maybe we're just going through definitions here. You do not know the shape of any item on either side. On the spec side, a single sentence can contain multiple criteria. Alright, let me read through this again. You do not know the shape of any item on either side. On the spec side, a single sentence can contain multiple criteria smeared across nuanced contextual rules that require reasoning to disentangle. On the artifact side, a single criterion's implementation can be spread across multiple files and systems. Alright, this goes back to the whole artifact thing. I had AI dumb down artifact for me. In the context of artificial intelligence, the term artifact can mean different things depending on whether you're talking about user interface design. Well, that's a big grip because this is exactly what that paper that we are just reading is talking about. There's infinite paths to each thing. So maybe we can. I think it was referring to GitHub Copilot Cursor at the time, but let's see. In modern AI interfaces like GitHub Copilot Cursor or certain LLM platforms, an artifact refers to a large block of generated content that is separated from the chat conversation. What it looks like instead of the AI dumping code, diagrams, or web page inside the chat text stream, it generates a dedicated window or tab. Okay, so whenever AI gives you like a preview over here, that's what it's talking about. What it does allows you to preview and interact with the content. For example, if you ask the AI to write a website, the artifact shows you live editable HTML, CSS preview. Why it exists, keeps the chat clean, allows for iteration, editing the code, or preview running within the interface. MLOps and technical development, the world of machine learning operations. MLOps backend development. An artifact is any file or object produced during the AI lifecycle. Model weights, the actual binary files like Pyth, Onyx, or H5 saved after a model finishes training. Datasets versioned. No. I think it was the top one. All right, I'm just taking a sec, taking a little break to check the YouTube content and stuff here. Um, if anybody makes sense of this stuff, it'll be great. All right, we'll probably go a little while longer. I might get to the end of this page here, and then maybe we'll start doing something else. So let me read through this page and make sense of it, and then we'll start doing something else. So far, I'm not sure that I'm probably gonna have to read through this several more times to understand it. Especially not knowing all these programming words. It's a little bit more sophisticated for me. Just from not having entirely that background, only a little bit. So, anyways, let's go ahead. Structured, you end up comparing a list of complex objects against a list of complex objects, a list of lists against a list of lists. Unknown shapes. You do not know the shape of any item on either side. On the spec side, a single sentence can contain multiple criteria smeared across nuanced contextual rules that require reasoning to disentangle. On the artifact side, a single criterion's implementation can be spread across multiple files and systems. On the artifact side, a single criterion's implementation can be spread across multiple files and systems. Yeah, like I said, we're not going to understand this all right now because I don't understand that. Interleaving and sharing. Items do not live in isolation. A single implementation can satisfy parts of multiple spec items. A single spec item can be distributed across multiple components. The boundaries between items are not given by the structure, they must be inferred through reasoning. Interleaving and sharing. My mic keeps turning off, man. Hold on. Alright, there we go. Items do not live in isolation. A single implementation can satisfy parts of multiple spec items. A single spec item can be distributed across multiple components. The boundaries between items are not given by the structure, they must be inferred through reasoning. I know, pretty sure Python works through reasoning a lot. Maybe all coding languages do. This affects every phase where lists are compared. Review, verifying an implementation against a spec requires exactly this, cross-referencing. When human reviews code they wrote themselves, the mapping is explicit or implicit. They already hold the mental model. When AI generates the implementation, the reviewer must reconstruct the mapping from scratch. When AI generates the implementation, the reviewer must reconstruct the mapping from scratch. Items get missed. Entire requirements pass review. Unimplemented. Just putting bunny ears on you. Alright. Yeah, well, hang on. We're not going yet. Let me finish this. I'm reading the rest of this page. Mommy's got bunny ears. Take a look at her. When AI generates the implementation, the reviewer must reconstruct the mapping from scratch. Items get missed. Entire requirements pass review. Unimplemented because neither the human Items get missed. Entire requirements pass review unimplemented because neither the human nor the AI reviewer can hold the full mapping in working memory at once. That's for sure, dude. Um, that is for sure. Implementation. Building from a spec requires holding all cross references simultaneously. Alright, we're gonna read the rest of this page if you just jumped on here, and then we're gonna start actually vibe coding stuff for the end of this stream. Implementation building from a spec requires holding all cross references. Feel free to ask me any questions if you have any pop up. Implementation building from a spec requires holding all cross references simultaneously during generation. Each spec item interacts with others. A decision about authentication constrains session management, a data model choice ripples into API design and error handling. The spec distributes related concerns across disconnected items and expects the implementer to reassemble them. Details get dropped because the format demands exactly the kind of many-to-many assembly the architecture is worst at. Task decomposition. Breaking specs into tickets simplifies the problem, but does not eliminate it. Tickets are still lists. Individual sentences within a ticket can cite multiple sections of the spec. Okay, if you're on here, we're about to start vibe coding for real. After we get through this page, I'm just trying to make some understanding of this. It's a 100-something page document that I got by a computer programmer of like 20 years, and it's going over the correct way, from what I understand, to prompt AI, or at least give you an understanding of how to do so. To the new way of doing it, the better way. It's a lot more accurate, apparently. But this was written by a computer programmer, so I myself am not one, and it can be a little bit complicated. So feel free to watch the beginning of the stream if you want to catch up, figure this out yourself. Otherwise, I'm going to start vibe coding in a few minutes, probably. Task decomposition. Breaking specs into tickets simplifies the problem, but does not eliminate it. Tickets are still lists. Individual sentences within a ticket can cite multiple sections of the spec. One sentence in a spec can contain multiple criteria. Hey, nothing to me. What's going on, brother? Long time no see, man. I don't know if you caught that last part, but we're reading some documentation today. That's why the title is Reading Boring Stuff. We've been reading that pretty much all stream. We're going to start vibe coding soon. I wasn't even planning on vibe coding, but I suppose I need a break from reading this stuff because this stuff goes pretty in depth. So, yeah. Alright, No, you're good, dude. You are good, my friend. I appreciate you being here now. And we're going to start working on something new as well. We're not finished with the old thing, but I want to read more of this documentation first before working on the Figma to Davinci plugin. So we're going to be working on something that I've been working on a little bit in the background in a sec here. But yeah, let me get finished with this page real quick, and then we will start working on that. So I'm just going to go backwards for a second because I kind of forgot where I was, but that's okay. Implementation building from a spec requires holding all cross-references simultaneously during generation. Each spec item interacts with others. A decision about authentication constrains session management. A data model choice ripples into API design and error handling. The spec distributes related concerns across disconnected items and expects the implementer to reassemble them. Details get dropped because the format demands exactly the kind of many-to-many assembly the architecture is worst at. Task decomposition. Breaking specs into tickets simplifies the problem, but does not eliminate it. Tickets are still lists. Individual sentences within a ticket can cite multiple sections of a spec. One sentence in a spec can contain multiple criteria. The tickets are easier to review and accuracy improves. But the many to many risk remains. The human still needs to audit the mapping to be confident nothing was dropped. Verification. Using a large language LLM as a judge to evaluate whether output meets criteria is itself an audit problem. You're asking the model to match a list of criteria against an artifact. This is the same many-to-many comparison. LLM as judge inherits the matching limitation. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get what I get out of that. For the most part. Always start easy, then you end up in the hole. Yeah, this is a little bit of a rabbit hole for sure. I mean, we've been using AI a lot. I just want to make sure that I understand this to my fullest ability, because if there is a better way of prompting, he was throwing around numbers that like this is like extremely accurate with the models that we do have, and even he has a hard time confusing the models based off this philosophy or something like that. So I just want to make a note to myself before I forget. So I want to understand this as much as I can, because if I can start implementing this now as opposed to in the future, I'm training my brain to do things the correct way or the new way, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's definitely very complicated. So yeah, we're gonna actually get into the vibe coding portion of this. It is something like that. If you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back at you. Yeah, I've heard that being said. After all this documentation reading, I got to really figure out how to make sense of that statement right there. Just because I read so much stuff that went over my head, my brain's having a hard time processing things. For the past hour. But yeah, I'm gonna make the assumption that basically if you get too involved in doing something, I just, my brain can't even make sense of it right now. I'm trying to, but I just, that statement though is something that I'm gonna definitely look up and make sense of myself after this live stream for sure, because it's interesting to me. Anyways, we'll boot up Claude. We're running out of usage for the week because I still haven't upgraded into the max plan. We're at like 70% and it renews on Thursday. And I guess you're going to get front row seats to this, man, because I wasn't sure if I was going to actually release this on stream. The next tool that I'm building. Because the next tool that I'm building is making something locally that will... Hold on one sec. I just want to figure out which document this is here. Not downloads. I'm making something locally that will cut up my live streams or just cut up any videos that I have in general. And I know there's tools out there, but I just kind of wanted to build my own thing. Um, See what we could do. And then, of course, you know, we can use it whenever we want. And don't need to pay any credits or anything to somebody else. And then we could even sell it as a service. So that's the other thing. Sell it as a service or a SaaS or both. No, it's good, dude. I'm kind of at a standstill on the other project. Um, so, like, and maybe there's not a solution to the other project because there's infinite solutions to the other project, and that's kind of what I was going over by reading this documentation earlier. Um, but, yeah, I'm kind of at a standstill. So I'm gonna need something else to stream, and you know, I'm streaming. I want to show off my day to day, some of my day to day life because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. But I just can't stream for that long. So yeah, right now we're just building a tool that uses Remotion to kind of build things. So actually, um, if I can pick your brain, maybe we're still in testing phases of this. Of course, it's nowhere near done. The other tool is pretty much done. Um, if you can think of anything that we should add to this, if you haven't heard of Remotion, have you heard of Remotion? I'll give you like the 5 second rundown. It's basically a tool that will add animations to your videos through code. So rather than editing a video all myself, um, this will edit the videos for me, in a sense. My brain is not made for coding. Yeah, this isn't so much a coding question as much as, I guess, with the type of videos you watch. Because I'm going to take a guess that you do watch some YouTube because you're here on the stream. Don't know why my camera is doing that. But for some of the videos you watch, what do you think would be some cool animation ideas to pop in here? And it's okay if you don't have any. I'm just, I don't even know if I explained that properly. So we'll see. If you have any to share, I'm all ears. Yeah, you see the vision, man? Dope, dude. Dope. Yeah, it should be a pretty cool tool. Like I said before, I know other people are doing stuff like this, but I kind of want my own thing for it. Just for like a marketing perspective, like if I can put more videos out on this channel, then more people see my stuff, more people buy my stuff, and it's all free marketing or minimal cost, really. So that's why I want to build something. Right now I'm trying to figure out how to make this camera stop doing what it's doing because it keeps doing some stuff. Zooming in on my face and stuff. What is this avatar thing? Oh, okay. Video preview. Devices occupied. I don't know. Whoop. Oh shit. Yeah, I suppose I maybe spoke too broadly. Um, because this is the problem that I'm having with AI sometimes. Do like there's infinite possibilities of what a viral video looks like. What do you think? Um, I think that I think I'm about to ask you too broad of a question as well. Oh yeah, yeah. Don't let the dog around her. Yep, that dog's vicious. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of a better question to ask because, like, what do you think in a viral video, right? Because there's so many different ways you can create a viral video. I'll show you what we have so far, and I'm basically asking if you have any ideas to expand on this stuff. So what we have now is basically we have presets because there's going to be different types of videos, and then you can kind of type in what you want the AI to search for, um, and then it'll search for this type of stuff. And then we also have the way that the AI is going to cut the video. So if it's going to cut it slowly, faster, a little bit faster, more fast, very fast. Model stuff, whatever. But I guess what I'm asking you, and maybe you don't have an opinion on this, and that's okay. I'm just curious if you do. Like, what types of effects could I throw in here? Like, I got captions. I don't know what this hook text crap is. This is all stuff that I had AI. I'm like, I essentially gave it what you just texted in the chat. Give me viral stuff that video editors would use, but I don't think it was specific enough. So we have like some fading stuff. Like, I guess, what do you look for in a video that keeps you watching? I guess the best are like the animations from viral animation tutorials. I don't know the names, but maybe that helps. I gotta think about that a little bit. What's going on? Oh, hold on a little bit. Hold on. My fiance, we're going over to my fiance's house today. Gonna do a lot of my work there. She wants to get going bad, but we're working on this a little bit more. We're not leaving yet. We're not leaving until the job's done. But yeah, okay, let me see what you said. I guess the best are like the animations from viral animation tutorials. I don't know the names, but maybe that helps. Maybe it would be best to pull some viral animations tutorials on screen then. And this is still in like its beta stage, so like it can't do everything yet. It kind of looks like you can tell it's AI, which is fine because we're basically just trying to go for, I suppose, like a mixture of quality, but mainly brute forcing it and maximum amount of videos. So let's see here. Let's just look up animation, viral animation tutorials. Probably too broad, and I know my channel's about animations and shit, so Hobo Am is good. Alright, let me look that up. I don't know who a Hobo Am is. Hobo M. As an editor. Okay. Alright, let's see. Okay. Let me see. Just taking a look at what he's got here. Let's go by most popular. Okay. Alright, this definitely gives me some ideas. So I'll add in shakes because I don't have shakes in. Maybe. So yeah, that gives me that actually is good. I don't know if this is the direction that you were thinking of, but now I'm gonna add in transitions. Actually, I think that's a good. And it looks like the face cam kind of zoomed up in on me. It really wants you to take a look at my face. I'm not sure. Let me see if that reset. Yep, reset. Alright, so let me add in transitions to our tool. I'm trying to think. Do we have a copy of this tool on my D drive? AI apps. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Gotta take a look. Yeah, you definitely gave me some inspiration because, like, you know, my brain is just going through so much stuff, dude. It can't even think about, like, where to turn to. I know you missed the beginning of this AI segment where I was reading a lot of that documentation. You saw, like, the back end of it, I'm pretty sure. But basically it was talking about how AI can have, like, infinite paths that it can go on based off one instruction you give it. And then once you create an instruction that has, let's say, 3 paths that you want to take on, now you have infinite paths on those 3 paths. So it's just branching off into infinite directions. You know, going back to the whole abyss thing. Maybe I'm getting a little too in depth, but yeah. Shit definitely got pretty crazy. Just taking a look on this here to make sure that this is. Yes, coding needs more than 2 brains for sure. For sure, dude. For sure. Oh man, I keep making it zoom in on my face, the camera. Alright. Enjoy the pretty view while it lasts. Maybe we'll just pin this so that way we can just click medium real quick. Alright, I'm not sure if this is up to date. I'm not sure what is up to date. I need more than 2 brains, man, because I am losing track. There's just so much going on. Where the hell is my desktop, man? How can I get to my desktop easily? I guess we gotta go in this way. Kinda weird, but... Desktop. That's not the right desktop. Okay. Another way of doing this. Gotta move this to the side. So much stuff, so much stuff. Copy as path. Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. Wait, that didn't take us to the path. Okay. Alright, man. Any ideas on how we can get to our desktop? Yeah, the holy search begins. You are not wrong, dude. This is like an endless, Man. Oh. Wait. I think I might have... No. No, that's just stock footage and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. How do I get to my desktop? I mean, I can look it up or ask AI to do it. But how do I find the file path for my desktop? Boop. Open File Explorer, CC Users, your name, desktop. Yeah, but that's not the right desktop. I'm almost positive. Users, this is my user. And then it said desktop. Looking to see if there was another desktop. It's not it. It's not it, my friend. It is not it. Public. Crusade to desktop. Dude, this is crazy, bro. This is like a really simple task, too. It's kind of sad. Show all libraries. Please, computer, help me. Help me, help. Show all folders. Ha! We've made it to the desktop. We made it. Alright, let's see here. Clipforge. This is just the name AI gave it, so I don't know if we're going to use this name or not. And of course we would have two of them, because why could we possibly keep this simple? I think it's this one. Oh, you know what? We could have just clicked on it. I don't know why we didn't do that. That's kind of stupid, man. I was not thinking about that. So this is the wrong one. The uppercase one. Oftentimes we edit the previous version too, so I'm not sure if V3 is even the most updated version either. Let's look at the changelog. Let's see what the most updated version is. 1.09. Successful crusades with no deaths. Love that, dude. My freaking mic just turned off. Gold medal. Thank you, sir. Alright, I'm thinking that V2 is probably the most up to date. V2 is probably the most up to date. Let's look at V3. I'll be surprised. Yeah, that's not the most up to date. So before we even get into this folder, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this V2. I'm gonna change this to V4, and things tend to get a little bit out of order here. At some point I gotta look up the best way to back up this stuff too, because there might be a better way of doing this. Alright, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside this. We're gonna give this to Claude. Choose different folder. Boom. We're gonna give it this folder. I want you to add transitions into being one of the options in the tool, like adding in transitions between clips such as a shake transition and give it some presets based off what I'm about to tell you. I want it to allow me to adjust the shake speed, shake power, how much it shakes on the x-axis in terms of where it goes on screen, and the same thing for y. Maybe add smooth to shake or add the video links. Yeah, I'm not sure it can read the video links like his tutorials or anything. I don't think it can do anything with that because I don't have this hooked up to like Gemini API, which scrapes that data. But yes, smooth we should definitely add. Add in a smoothness of the shake. Yeah, that's a good call because this could have got rocky real quick. And I want these to all be sliders. Also, we will add more to the transitions tab later, so let's work on this first and make this an option. Alright, actually vibe coding today, guys. Again, in the beginning of the stream we were reading documentation, but now we're actually vibe coding some stuff. I'll add more to the transitions tab later, so let's work on this first and make this an option. Alrighty. The videos mostly have a dataset file in the description. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by a dataset file. You mean like the transcript of the video? Is that what you're talking about? Or what do you mean? I'm not even sure how I'd access that actually. Paperclip AI just changed OpenClaw for forever. Okay. Paperclip. I still gotta check out Paperclip. Very behind on all this AI stuff, man. It is an endless rabbit hole. Apple only shows code. If you don't open it in the app, the tutorial was make for. Yeah, I don't really know what that means, man. I'm not gonna lie. Apple only shows code. If you don't open it in the app, the tutorial was made for. So maybe you're talking about one of these tutorials or something? Apple. Nope. I don't know. I do not know. I gotta remember to have AI split this into pieces too, because we don't need. So you see like the chance. So you see like the chance of the Y position. Oh. Well, let me bring this up in terms of Davinci, because Davinci has something called camera shake, and maybe this is what you're talking about. Do 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 do. I mean, on an Apple mobile. Yeah, I mean, I have an Apple mobile phone. I still don't. Only shows code if you don't open it in the app. I'm still not sure what you mean. But I. Oh. Wait, do you mean on Apple desktop? Or on. I guess it doesn't make a difference because I still don't understand. But, Apple phones? Something about Apple phones or Mac? Like PC? But, anyways, let me show you here. Maybe it's the same, similar thing. Camera shake. Like, this has X and Y deviation, so that'll be like, if I change the X deviation, this will move all the way side to side. Like, now the object will shake all the way side to side. If I change the Y, same thing, up and down, up and down. Now, if I make it really small, then the object will only wiggle from like here to here. Won't let me try to copy in the chat. Yeah, probably YouTube bug. Rotation deviation, same thing. Rotation, back and forth, back and forth. Then we have strength, which is how hard it's gonna rotate, and then we have speed, which is kind of similar, how fast. But yeah, I could have swore it must be on the other one. Camera shake. Yeah, there's a lot of options here. But yeah, anyways, we'll see what this spits out. Maybe we'll just keep it like as is for now, and we'll see. I'm not sure if this finished. Didn't finish, so it's still working on it. I'm gonna take a look at my usage. We're 73% through the week. There's no shot we're making it towards Thursday with just the pro plan. This will probably be a good start. At least you gave me some direction and some ideas of what I could add to it, which is really what I was trying to go for. Ow. Got like a mosquito bite on my arm. Just hurt my arm by touching it a little bit. Alright. Ooh. Damn, man. Alright. Let's go ahead and boot this thing up. Let's see what we got. V4. Oh, okay. You were able to type in something. It looks like that might be like SVG code or something. I don't know, like CSS, like website code. Let me get this booted up first because it's going to take a while to run in the background. And then I can I can do that. Take a look at that. Alright, tutorial, educational. You also can't read anything on here. Like, all these, that sucks, bro. Like, that's not readable. Oh, this shows up if you open it in Data app. Yeah, probably like a notepad or something, I would assume. Da 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Do captions, hook text. Yeah, we'll just do everything. Why not? We're not gonna change anything. Put Rob creates here. Only thing will change. I don't know why you would want opacity on branding. Mild, I guess. Let's do intense. Let's see what that does. And then we can see every time that this thing actually cuts clips, because I'm not always sure based off this clip that I'm giving it. So let's run that. Let's see how this runs. Let me put this into something like Olama so I don't waste my Claude credits. What type of data is this? Like, what file type can you tell? Let's see. It might be SVG because it's mentioning something about vectors, but I feel like this is not how SVGs are usually written. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I assume you got this from, well, I don't know. You got this from somewhere. Oh, now I think I understand what you were saying before. App only shows code if you don't open it in the app. The tutorial was made for it. Oh, yeah. So what I think you were saying there was, like if you open up a file in like a notepad or something, then it shows it. Whereas if you open up the app, they don't give you the code. Yeah, okay. I think that's what you were saying. This shows up if you open it in Data app, but it's just very short part of it from the captions of the video. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, where did you get this from, though? Like, what app is this coming from? Adobe Animate? No, this is just scrolling through anything that it thinks it might be. Is this an XML file? You mean the data was made for? It is XML. Okay. I was just trying to see if this could figure out what file type this was. I don't know that this is going to be able to figure out what the data was made for. Because this could be so many different things. I mean, this is only like 4 lines of code. So that could literally be like anything. Dun, dun, dun. anyways, it's from the Hobo Am videos. It was made for a light motion. Oh yeah, it's probably some sort of plug-in or preset or something for a light motion. I'm not sure exactly what it is. What video did you get this from? Like, what specific video? Can you type the title? Can you copy paste the title in the chat or the link? And then I'll see exactly what it is. I downloaded it there. Okay. Let's see how this is chugging along. So, Whisper finished up. It read through the transcript. Yeah, I think this tool is going to be really helpful for streamers that don't really want to edit their videos. You know, anybody that really doesn't want to edit their videos or doesn't know how to edit their videos, because that's a really time-consuming process of video. And then we can kind of eliminate that. It's not going to be for everybody because getting an editor is still going to be better quality. But if you're going for like bulk of information and just trying to get your information out fast, if you're in niches that don't really need a lot of editing, I think this is going to be really helpful. Like for me, like I said before, I'm going to be using this as a marketing aspect to just like clip up all my videos on the channel. But yeah, if you have the video, I'll take a look. I will take a look, my friend. But if not, that's alright. I don't use a light motion. I don't think I've ever opened that app before. I've seen a lot of people use it though. You watch this guy on YouTube, or you just found him as like a reference real quick? Don't remember the title, but let me search for one with data in the description. Yeah, that's okay, man. Not a big deal. I was just curious. I mean, we're creating something completely different, so this isn't so much gonna be presets like that, I think, because those are probably like presets for a light motion, which will most likely be different. This is like different, but let me put this in the box, close up the box properly. I think I'm probably going to wrap up this stream too at like in 2 hours mark as well. Yeah, it's all good, brother. Not a big deal. Alright, yeah, so I'm going to wrap up this stream in a couple of minutes for sure. I'm going to stick around for another like 6-7 minutes and then gonna get going, because I'm sure my fiance is having a heart attack wanting to leave right now. And then I'll just start working on this in the background once we get to my fiance's parents' house. Then I got a call I gotta show up for tomorrow, so I gotta remember to get ready for that. Not that there's really anything that I need to get ready for, actually. But that should be exciting. 5 more minutes, and then I'm getting off. Or 6. 6 more minutes. I want to make sure I get that 2-hour mark. So let's see. Let's see what this comes out with now.
You okay, sir?
Clipforge. It's not a terrible name. Kind of like it. I wish audio had more long playlists on their website that I could play. We would have much better music in here. I wonder if I can ask them as a feature request for their service. Wonder if there's somewhere I can do that. I'm sure there probably is. Viral, Tiny, Lematron, boom, 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 boom. Who knows? Maybe this failed because of something I didn't write in here. Let me look. Intense. Gotta make it go crazy. What are you working on, by the way? Nothing new to me. Are you working right now? Pretty sure you said... Didn't you say you're working in college or something like that? We didn't get into specifics, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that was you. You working right now? You in class? You chilling in the dorm room? What are you doing, man? Or am I completely wrong and that wasn't even you? Yes. So yes, you're working right now. Cool. Cool, cool, man. Do something to keep you occupied. Alright. Give this thing a run through. I was the one with our studio. Yes, I remember that. Alright, so this is going to do its thing. It's probably going to do its thing till the end of the stream. Yeah. Ooh. Nice crack of my fingers right there. Hi, beautiful. Ooh. Gotta get a nice stretch in after 2 hours of sitting down, man. Definitely be sitting down for a lot longer than 2 hours today. But here in Europe is 2 hours is midnight. Yeah, man, so 10 o'clock, and maybe I know some European countries do 24-hour time, right? So, would that be 22 o'clock? I'm not sure. Never been to Europe, so I don't know how you guys keep track of time exactly. I just saw that in a YouTube video. Somebody was using a 24-hour clock, and they were from Europe. Or maybe that was just personal preference. I don't know. But yeah, at least where I am. Yes, sir. Alright, retrying with fresh JSON format. some more errors. I'm going to give this another minute. And while we're doing that, we'll probably close out here. I'm probably going to be popping off here. But let me do my general run through real quick before I go. If this will pop up. Alright, so if you guys are looking for any of the tools that we're building in any of these live streams / videos, whatever, you can find them on my site, entities.org. I mean, that's assuming that they're released. Right now, there's not too much on the site as far as projects and stuff. There is one free tool that you can get your hands on for both Windows or Mac. But we also have one project file. And then other than that, we just launched the Creator Accelerator, which is a training program for you Davinci Resolvers. If you're struggling with anything A to Z in Davinci Resolve on both the edit and the Fusion page, you know, we'll get it figured out. This is not going to be something tutorial based. This is going to be something one-on-one focused for your specific problem, so that way we can solve those and you can keep crushing it, keep on making money, keep on loving what you're doing, whatever, yada yada yada. The other thing, done for you service, where I handle making the videos for you. Now this can be a couple different things. This can be the editing, the thumbnails, the scripting, whatever you really need to make a banger video. And again, make a lot of money, entertain a lot of people, whatever your goal is. I think for most is probably going to be the money aspect of things. But yeah, you know, we've been studying this stuff for 3 years. We've been editing videos for 3 years. AI is going crazy. If you need systems for your business, we can pretty much tackle it all. We're learning, we're growing every single second, staying up to date with this stuff. And yeah, so anyways, I'm going to shut this down from here. And yep. Alright. Let me just check your last comment, man. I guess the AI has helped more than it will in years. Than I will in years. Nah, dude, don't say that, because you still got to prompt AI and lead it down the right direction, and you gave me some ideas for what to put in here. So don't ever think of yourself as not valuable, my friend. Peace out, brother. It was good talking to you again. Alright. Let me shift it down here.